Hi all, and welcome to Yarnspirations.com. In this video we're going to take a look at all you need to know to knit the Knit Comfort Shawl. You're going to need 3 balls of Bernat Super Value, one each in dark heather, taupe, and dark mauve, or of course the colors of your choice. A size US 8 circular knitting needle, 29 inches long or longer, not that we're going to knit in the round, but you need the length to accommodate the number of stitches, or size needed to obtain gauge, and a stitch marker. And of course you will also need the pattern. Here we have the shawl. It is knit from the center out, top down, and all the beginning sections are in garter stitch. And then when you get to the edge, to that final color change, we're going to knit a deep lace border, and we're going to talk about how to knit from this unusual chart. So let's get started with the center. Let's get started with the center section. I've cast on 3 stitches, as it says in the directions, and this is a right side row. So I'm going to knit 1, yarn over twice, and then knit 1. So knit 1, yarn over. I'm going to bring the yarn between the needles to the front and straight over the right hand needle to the back. Knit 1, another yarn over, knit 1. And I have 5 stitches on the needle now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Second row, and all the other even numbered rows are just knit across until we get to the border. Now we're on the 3rd row. We're going to knit 1, yarn over 4 times, and knit the last stitch. So knit 1, yarn over. Once again, you're bringing the yarn between the 2 needles to the front and letting it just go over the right hand needle to the back. So knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, and knit the last stitch. Now we should have 9 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 4th row, of course, is just knit back. All right, now for the 5th row. Knit 1, yarn over twice. So knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, twice, then knit 2, 1, 2, yarn over, place marker. Now I'm using a locking stitch marker because that's what I happened to have, but you can use a regular ring marker if you like. Knit 1, yarn over, knit 2, 1, 2, yarn over, knit 1 twice, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1. And that should give us 15 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Now row 6th, knit back. Slip the marker when you come to it. Okay, 7th row. Now this is the row that you're going to repeat over and over and over until the shawl gets to the point where you want it to be. So let's take a careful look at this. Knit 1, yarn over twice. Knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit to marker. So knit across until you see the marker. Not so hard to miss now, but you're going to really be happy it's there when you get to the point where the rows are much bigger. Yarn over, and then it says SM, which stands for slip marker. Knit 1, yarn over. Knit to last 2 stitches, yarn over, knit 1 twice. Knit to last 2 stitches, so I have 2 left, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1. That is the 7th row, and we should have 21 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. And row 8 is a knit row, as all of the alternate rows are. So what you're going to do now is you're going to repeat rows 7 and 8 over and over and over again until you have 167 stitches. And what will happen as you knit these rows is you will get 6 more stitches, so a 6 stitch increase every other row. When you have 167 stitches, go ahead and break off the color A and attach color B and keep working in that same pattern, repeating rows 7 and 8 until there are 273 stitches total. When there are 273 stitches total, you will break off the B color and join the C color, and then we're going to take a look at that border. So once again, all I'm doing over and over and over again is repeating that 7th row, and then the 8th row is a knit row, and it's going to be a little bit longer every time I do an increase row. So knit 1, yarn over twice, knit across to the marker, yarn over, slip the marker, knit 1, yarn over, and then knit to the last 2 stitches and yarn over, knit 1 twice. Okay, I have 2 stitches left. Yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1. And the next row is going to be a knit row. So I'm going to slide this onto the middle of my needle so you can see what's going on. So your yarn overs at the beginning and the end are creating the top edge of the shawl, and as you keep knitting it's going to form a slight V shape, and that's excellent because it helps the shawl sit on your shoulders when you're wearing it. And then you'll also see you're going to have a vertical column straight down the center of yarn over, knit 1, yarn over. So the yarn overs will track down the center and across the long edges, but you're just repeating the same 2 rows over and over again. I'm going to put some more rows on my sample, and then I'll come back and we will take a look at the border. Now I want to talk about knitting on the border. Now, I always tell you, you have a choice between following the text and following the chart. And I always tell people to pick whichever one they're most confident with. Now, I'm a chart person. I will take a stitch diagram every day of the week because it helps me see visually where the stitches belong in relationship to the stitches I have already knit. You, of course, can go whichever way, so here's the text version of the pattern. But let's talk a little bit about this chart, because if you are not someone who knits charts a lot and you think this is the one you want to try, you might look at this and see all this blank space in here and say, holy Pete, that doesn't make any sense to me. What is going on in those blank spaces? So I want to address this. So this is the first row of the border that you knit. You see 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, etc., all the way up to 23. So this is the first one that you're going to knit. Now, in the same way that when we knit the center section of the shawl, there were increases. Every subsequent row, or every other subsequent row, had more stitches than the one before. Now the same thing happens on the border. So the reason it is wider at the top and more narrow at the bottom is because those increase stitches don't exist until you get to the end. So you can't see where a stitch over here is in relationship to there because it doesn't exist yet. It hasn't happened. So let's take a look at the key very quickly. The blank is knit on the right side rows and purl on the wrong side rows. Now you might notice that every other row is just blank, and so that means we're going to purl back. So when we knit the center of the shawl, we knit on the back end, and on this we're going to purl on the back end. So while I always say you do the right side rows on this side and the wrong side rows on this side, if every single stitch is a purl, well then heck, it doesn't matter what side of the chart you're reading from, does it? So don't even worry about that kind of stuff. You're basically going to be reading from the right side, because when you would be reading from the left side, nothing's happening except purl stitches. So let's take a look at this. Knit 2, yarn over, knit 1, and now we're in the repeat. So it's knit 4, yarn over. This is slip 2, knit 1, pass 2 stitches over, which I will show you how to do. Yarn over, knit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, knit 5. So you're going to do this part in the red section as many times as you need to until there is one stitch before the marker, and the marker is right here. This is the central knit stitch. When this part is going on up in the garter stitch part of the shawl, this is where the yarn over, knit 1, yarn over happens. This is that central knit 1. You'll yarn over, you'll knit 1, then you're going to go to this side, yarn over, knit 1, and then repeat this section in the brackets, in the red brackets, as many times as you need to until there are 1, 2, 3 stitches left. You will knit 1, yarn over, and knit the last 2. I swear to you, this gets easier as you go along. So now, because you have those increase stitches, the next time you do a right side row on row 3, see, there's the yarn over in the first row, and since it's there, since you've increased a stitch, that's where it shows up on the 3rd row. Since you've increased a stitch here, that's where it shows up on the 5th row. So as you increase, the white space on the chart disappears. So I'm going to show you how to do a little bit of this border. One of the things I like about charts, though, is the chart and the border look exactly the same. There's the, and I flipped it up this way because this is the direction we're knitting and this is the outer edge. This is the direction we're knitting, this is the outer edge. So where you see all the stockinette here, there it is. Where you see this little central yarn over motif with the little lines coming off from it, there it is. There's the central line motif with the little lines coming off it. So I like the charts because I can see what I'm doing. But again, if you want to go back and use the text, there it is. Knit 2, yarn over, knit 1, and then instead of having the red lines in the brackets that we showed you that you're going to have the repeat, you'll have it between the asterisks. So it's knit 4, yarn over, slip 2, knit 1, P2 SSO, which is pass 2 slipped stitches over, yarn over, knit 5, right, until we get to the marker, and then yarn over, slip the marker, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, and then we're back to the repeats. So as you keep knitting, whether you are following the chart or you are following the text, the 12 stitch repeats stay the same. All the additional stitches that we're adding are before or after those 12 stitch repeats. And so you're only going to do that one time. That's the beginning of the row until you hit the repeat, 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 and it'll tell you how many stitches you need after. There's my yarn over, central knit yarn over, so that's the center. Remember, that's the center of the shawl. And then I'm going to knit, 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 knit until I come to the red bracket, or the asterisk in the case of the text instructions. Repeat that however many times I need to. And then all these extra stitches are at the end. So the only thing that repeats is what's between the red lines, in the same way that the only thing that repeats on the text pattern is from the single asterisk until it says stitch before marker, or from the double asterisk as long as it tells you to go. Right? Clear as mud? So let's get started and do some actual knitting here. Let me move this out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. Now I have made a teeny tiny little shawl because I am not going to be able to do all 2 gazillion stitches on camera. Yours, of course, will be much longer. And I have broken off my A color. I will also have broken off my B color if I was doing the actual shawl. And I would be using C. Again, to change colors, all I ever do is pick up a fold maybe 6 to 8 inches in from the side and start knitting from there. I can always weave that end in later. So it's knit 2, yarn over, knit 1. That is before my asterisk or before my red line on the chart. Knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, yarn over, slip 2. Now if I go up to the instructions, it says slip next 2 stitches knitwise, and I'm going to slip them together because I'm going to pass them together. So slip 2, knit 1, pass 2 slipped stitches over. So I'm going back with my left hand needle tip. I'm going to grab the 2 stitches that I passed and I'm going to pass them over the stitch that I knit as 1. So that is slip 2, knit 1, P2, SSO. Yarn over, knit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I will go back to that first asterisk, or I will go back to the first red line on the chart. And once again, knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, yarn over, slip 2, so 2 together, knitwise. Knit the next stitch, pass the 2 slipped stitches over the knit stitch as 1, yarn over, knit 5. And it says repeat that until 1 stitch before marker. So I've only done 2 repeats. You will have way more than 2 repeats. Now it says knit 1, yarn over. Now we're going to slip the marker, and this is the end of the right hand side of the stitch diagram. So there's the knit 1, which is that center line of the shawl, which is also the central line of that stitch diagram. Yarn over, knit 1, and now we are to the second set of brackets, the left hand side of brackets on the chart, or we are at the second set of asterisk, the double asterisk on the text. So it's knit 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yarn over, slip 2 together knitwise, knit the next stitch, slip the 2 slipped stitches over the knit stitch, yarn over, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then back to that red bracket at the beginning of the left hand side, or the double asterisk, knit 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yarn over, slip 2 together, knit the next stitch, pass these slipped stitches over the knit stitch, yarn over, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you will have more repeats than I do. When you get to the end, you'll have 3 stitches left. Let's knit 1, yarn over, knit 2. So that is the first row of the border. Now, second and alternate rows, it says purl. I'm going to go ahead and purl back off camera because there's no reason for you to watch that. And then let's take a look at the third row of the border together. Now, taking a look at the third row, you'll notice a couple of things. As I said before, there are now extra stitches before and after the red line of the stitch diagram, or before and after the asterisks, and that happens only one time at the beginning and the end of each half, because that's where all these increased stitches have been added. I also want you to notice that I have checked off with a pencil my row, whether I'm using the text or the diagram. The reason is, if you are not going to sit down and knit the entire border in one go, and most of us will not be able to do that, you really want to know where you left off, because you want to be able to pick up in the right order. The other thing, and if you have watched other Yarnspirations videos, you have noticed me say this over and over, but it's an important point. One way to figure out where you're going if you're reading the stitch diagram is to cover up some rows. Now, some people like to cover up the rows that they have already knit, but I don't like to do that because I want to be able to see where the new rows are in relationship to the ones I have already knit, as opposed to seeing the stitches that I haven't knit yet. I want to see that this lines up all the way up, the way we talked about when we looked at the border. So I like to cover up the rows I have yet to knit rather than the rows that I have knit already. You can also use highlighter tape for this. It's a very good use for it. It's clear and it's colored, and you can mark the row that you want to knit. But let's take a look at row 3. Because I went ahead and did row 2 off camera because that was a simple purl back. So, row 3, knit 2, yarn over, knit 2. And now here we are at either the first asterisk or the first red line. Knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, yarn over, slip 2 knitwise, knit 1, pass the 2 slipped stitches over. This is a little bit harder to see when it's all one color. It was easier to pick out the first time because I was changing colors. Yarn over, knit 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's do that repeat again. Knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, yarn over, slip 2 together knitwise, knit the next stitch, pass the 2 slipped stitches over the knit stitch, yarn over, knit 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're going to repeat that until there are 2 stitches before the marker. Here they are. Knit 2, yarn over, slip the marker, knit 1. Once again, that's our center line. It's the center line of the diagram. It's the center line of the shawl. That's always going to be a knit 1. Yarn over, knit 2. And now we're back to the left-hand side of the stitch diagram, the second part, or the double asterisk. Knit 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, yarn over, slip 2 together, knit the next stitch, pass the 2 slipped stitches over, yarn over, knit 4. And you'll keep repeating that 12 stitch repeat as many times as you need to get to the end of the row. 2, 3, 4, 5, yarn over, slip 2 together, knit 1, pass the 2 over, yarn over, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 stitches left. Going to knit 2, yarn over, knit 2. And that's the end of the third row. You can see our pattern starting to build up. We have our slipped stitches going in a column, and we have some yarn overs going in a column. So all you need to do now is keep going. Follow the chart or follow the text. Mark off each row as you go. Remember that you're going to purl back. You're going to have the wrong side row. And now let's talk about the very end. You'll notice, particularly on the stitch diagram, that there is no row 24. So when you get to the end of the 23rd row, be it the diagram or the text, you're done. There is not a purl back, a row 24. So where it says cast off loosely purlwise, which is a wrong side row, I'm here to tell you that doing it loosely is important. Remember how we looked at the border of the shawl and it was scalloped? Notice how the border of the shawl, when we're looking at it on the stitch diagram, is straight. So we need that bind off to be nice and loose so that the edge can relax and get that pretty little scallop when we block the shawl. Now, if you're the type of person that has a death grip on your needles and you're concerned that you cannot bind off loosely just by thinking about it, I highly recommend you just go up 1 needle size. You don't have to have a long circular again. It could be a double point or a straight or whatever you have, but do the knitting for the bind off with a size 9 needle if you used an 8 for the shawl, and that will keep you from binding off too tightly. But you don't have to worry about what kind of needle it is because you're only having 1 or 2 stitches at a time on your right hand needle tip. The stitches that you're binding off will be on the left hand needle, which is the long circular that we advised you to get at the very beginning. So I hope you had a wonderful time knitting this beautiful knit comfort shawl. Thanks for joining us here on Yarnspirations.com. We look forward to seeing you again real soon.